Good afternoon and welcome to Ad Age's Gen Z Roundtable. I'm Adrienne Pasquarelli, Special Projects Editor and Senior Reporter at Ad Age. We are just days away from Black Friday, but these days the holiday shopping period is starting earlier than ever, with many sales hitting consumers in early October. Today, we'll be talking about the shopping habits of Gen Z, the group of consumers that every marketer wants to attract. I'm joined today by a great panel of experts who can talk about their own experiences with brands and give us a look at what strategies are resonating and spurring them to hit that buy button. Please welcome Alanis Castro, a member of Burns Communication Group's The Z Suite, Alyssa Lyles, Media Relations Manager at Shein, Arifili Gunari, founder and CEO of The Z Link, and Annika Roy, Associate Community Manager at women's fashion brand Lulu's. Thank you all for being here. A reminder that if you have questions for our panelists, please submit them on our social channels and we'll try to get to all of those that we receive. Okay, so let's start with a question that we received earlier this week from our audience. How do viral holiday trends and challenges on platforms like TikTok impact your gift wish lists and shopping behavior? And what makes certain trends more appealing than others? That's from Natalie in New York. Arifili, do you want to start and take this one?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to jump in. There's a few things that we see going well when it comes to this kind of post and this kind of shopping content. One of them is the very niche personalization that makes sort of like very specific gift guides, and these have been trending on TikTok this year and also last holiday season a lot. So it's like hyper niche holiday gift guides for this kind of person or this kind of person or for a very specific type of aesthetic and kind of collection of interests. So that's a big one. And then another one is driving these kinds of trends with FOMO. So like last minute gift hauls are doing great. Things like viral gift must-haves this year. It's a lot about that and this like sense of urgency and all the like niche items.
Annika, do you want to jump in too?
Yeah, I was just about to unmute. I think as someone who I'm like pretty heavily, I joke I get paid to be chronically online. So I spend a lot of time on the internet scrolling TikTok and all of that. But I think what really makes someone like hop on a viral product or anything like that is really seeing its use in like real life, not just with these mega creators who are paid or on these gift guides. It's really people who are using the product and like your friends, your family, kind of people who you see, even like smaller creators like micro influencers, ambassadors who are really they're not necessarily being paid to promote a product. They just really love it. And I think that's when a trend really starts to take off and really starts to explode.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing. I think that once you see the authentic side of a brand with those types of organic postings, especially from local and micro influencers, it really makes a difference in creating trust and just building up your authenticity as a brand. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, we've heard so much about authenticity. What about, like, is there an approach to Gen Z holiday marketing that brands do that you wish they would, or that you wish they would do? I think this came in from our audience too. Alanis, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, of course. I actually just came across Michael Kors' holiday campaign this morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, they killed it because they actually used a lot of influencers and creators that are popular right now. So, like the guy that sings to celebrities like backstage, he was involved in like the Kamala Harris campaign. He's a really popular figure amongst Gen Z, and he was in the campaign. And he was like singing to the Hamlin sisters as they were like in a bodega, like dripped in like Michael Kors collection. And I was like, this actually eats, like it's so iconic. So I definitely wish that more brands would do that. Like I think it's a little bit can come across a little bit like I don't know. I think it comes across a little wrong if brands kind of overdo it, but I think that Michael Kors did it in a way that felt seamless to the brand and, iconic symbols that we associate with Michael Kors, like New York. So yeah, I feel like I wish a lot of brands would talk to Gen Z in that way instead of making it more over and like not really understanding the nuances of our humor.
Feels like a fine line. Brands have to walk there.
Yeah, I agree. But when they do it right, it resonates so well.
Does anyone else have any thoughts on that Gen Z holiday marketing brands don't do that you wish they would?
Yeah, I feel like I just second Alanis's point of view, where it's just really not being afraid to kind of dip your toes into like the humor and Gen Z, to really relate to us in that way. I think that's a really underrated kind of way to go about people, or go about marketing to Gen Z. So I know on the Lulu's page, we do a lot of like memes and that stuff, and that is always our like highest reach. So it's really exciting to see more brands kind of dip their toes into the humor of things.
I think it'd be cool to see brands do giveaways on a larger scale. I feel like all the giveaways that happen are mostly through influencers, but I don't know, it'd be interesting to see like more ad campaigns just like doing. I just feel like this is the time of, buying so much and spending so much. It'd be cool to just like give back a little more and see giveaways on this grand scale, especially to Gen Z who just need a little help.
So you mean giveaways for regular people versus charitable donations, and then
Both,
certainly
yeah.
versus influencers?
I would say both, yeah, because when the giveaways are going to the customer as well, I think it just increases engagement significantly when there's like incentive.
Yeah, I will.
I just love. Oh, sorry. Go first.
No, I was just gonna say, to Alyssa's point, we literally yesterday launched a Black Friday giveaway with our Black Friday sale coming up, and that's already gotten like a lot of reach and engagement. So that's also really exciting. But yeah, enter if you haven't yet.
So oh, go ahead.
I just want to add to what Alanis said earlier, that I feel like brands that manage to set up and establish those very strategic creator partnerships that aren't just your average, like very safe bet Gen Z influencer that every single person follows, it shows shows much higher trend awareness to their Gen Z audience. But it takes a different kind of like creative freedom that needs to be given to their teams. And as Annika said, it takes teams that are like chronically online to know who those creators are to partner up with. Like Marc Jacobs does this really, really well because their TikTok is full of very niche creator partnerships and they tap into such specific micro communities. And I feel like that works so well with Gen Z, but the biggest issue is that either brands don't work with Gen Z marketers to put these things in place so they don't know where to go, or they're not comfortable sort of giving them creative freedom and experimenting with a partnership that might not be like a safe bet that reaches everyone, but is more targeted towards one community that will really understand it.
We have another question from our audience, from Jason on LinkedIn. What are more of your favorite examples that you all have seen so far this year? Why don't you each maybe cite a quick example and we'll kind of go around. Alanis, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, I think since we're kind of entering the holiday season, I haven't seen too many other than the Michael Kors one that came up this morning. But I remember last year, Nadia Lee Cohen directed a Skims holiday campaign, and that one was also like super creative, really went viral online. And I felt like a lot of Gen Z commentators were like appreciating the art behind the campaign. Like Skims definitely took a risk doing something that wasn't necessarily expected, and I think it definitely landed well. And Nadia Lee Cohen is just an icon, so yeah, her work was definitely like great to see. And that, I don't know, intersection between like Skims and the Kardashian family, who you typically associate with like reality TV and luxury, but for her to like do something creative and out of the box was like really well received.
And it's telling that you remember it a year later, even though so much marketing has happened since then.
Yeah. You actually took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say Skims as well, just because every year I feel like Kim just kills it. Just engaging the right people, making, campaigns that are attractive and really just easily digestible. She's always so relevant. And then even this isn't related to holidays, but even her most recent Dolce & Gabbana collaboration with Courtney was hilarious, just given all the drama with them two and Dolce & Gabbana. So yeah, she's always just so relevant. And I look forward to the Skims campaigns every year.
Annika, do you have a favorite that you've seen or noticed?
Yeah, I've been personally, my feed is taken over by Wicked and their press tours, but I think all the collaborations they've been doing are really exciting with the Shark Beauty. Wicked colorway is really, I really debated shelling out money for that, but no, I think they've been doing a lot of collaborations in a way that's really authentic to the film and what's coming out, but then also the brands themselves. So finding that kind of happy medium between and really taking that collaboration and making it relevant to both brands and not just one or the other, and really making it feel authentic.
Arafeli, have you seen anything you wanted to shout out real quick?
I'll go with Gia. I've been loving what they're doing right now because their entire Instagram strategy is very much they have this hashtag that they use, feels like Gia, and they go with sort of vintage advertising and they curate a very specific vibe. And then for the holiday specifically, they created this holiday host box that's the perfect gift for anyone hosting for the holidays. And they collaborated very strategically with other brands that fit this general dinner party vibe that Gen Z is really into right now, to create the perfect box as a very curated gift idea. So I think that's a very smart strategic collaboration.
So let's talk a little bit about timing. As I mentioned earlier, I've written a lot about how holiday shopping starts in October, and Black Friday just means a sale. It doesn't really mean the actual day anymore. But I'm curious what you all think about this calendar shift. When do you want to think about holiday shopping, and how does that compare with what is prompting you to make a purchase? So who wants to start? Alyssa?
Sure. I don't know why I feel this way, but I don't know if it's just I grew up looking forward to Black Friday and the weekend after Thanksgiving. So that's kind of ingrained in me to wait until after Thanksgiving to shop true Black Friday sales. I don't really shop beforehand for holidays. I feel like anything beforehand feels so far in advance. I don't know, the timing of it feels perfect, just in time for Christmas. And I don't know, I feel like some brands still do wait until the weekend. But yeah, I usually wait. I don't know if it's the traditionalist in me, but I've kept it to Black Friday weekend, and I'm waiting this year as well.
I have a kind of counter opinion on that, but although I do really love the feel of Black Friday shopping and really going out, I feel like with online, the consumer is, I feel like Gen Z is much more mindful about the purchases they're making, and they want to be able to think on it a little bit more. So I really love how Lulu's obviously really we have our early Black Friday and then we have our Black Friday. So our consumers are really able to really sit on their purchase and make sure it's something they actually want, or if it's the Christmas gift, really being able to think on that purchase and hopefully lower the returns on the back end. Because people are really actually given the time to think, is this something I really want and need, rather than just purchasing because it's urgent and you're going to miss out. Yeah.
I kind of agree with what Alyssa was saying. Definitely just habitual now to just wait until around the Thanksgiving time just by nature because of the Black Friday sales. But I will say that this year I have been shopping early just because I've noticed that a lot of brands have been doing like a pre-Black Friday sale. And then kind of your second question that you were asking, like what prompts us to start the holiday shopping? Honestly, literally last night I bought my boyfriend's present because I was just scrolling on Abercrombie and they had like a gift guide for men and I was like, this is perfect because he never knows what he wants. So, and they were having like a pre-Black Friday sale. So I think it was just twofold, like the sale and then the gift guide on top of it. I was like, perfect. Like I can just scroll in here, get him something really quick. So I think that's kind of the vibe this year, shopping early, but also taking advantage of the early sales.
So making it a little easier for you with advice and a discount.
For sure.
That's one that I've been seeing a lot as well, like the rise in curated search categories on retailer sites. So like gifts under $50 on any website that you go on and stuff like that, that I think just prompts that shopping earlier. And I feel like this year and maybe last year, we've been shifting more towards a spread out kind of holiday sale season. So it's been like early holiday sales, pre-Black Friday sales, like it starts much earlier than it did. And then you've got all those curated search categories on retailer websites that make it a lot easier for it to be top of mind earlier than it would be like by Black Friday.
We have another audience question here from Deacon on LinkedIn. What do you think of the crossover / connection of social media and out-of-home ads, the blend of offline and physical world? Is that something that you guys have noticed or are paying attention to, that blending of both? Has anyone noticed it?
Yeah, I feel like I mentioned this earlier, but I go to school in rural Pennsylvania, so I feel like that connection is rarely an experience for me when I'm at school or like at home. But when I'm in the city, like it's everywhere. So I feel like a lot of my shopping honestly happens when I'm in the city more because I'm seeing all of these out of home placements and I'm reminded of brands that I like forget about when I'm home because we don't have access to them. And then I'm at school and honestly, if it's not on my social media, if it's not on my feed, I honestly forget that the brand exists until it's time to shop for like a dress and I'm like, okay, let's just go back to this store. So yeah, I feel like in high I don't know, high velocity or like high intensity cities, like definitely like where there's a lot of foot traffic, I think it's really impactful.
What it feels like it can be very saturated, this environment. We're getting all these discounts all the time. I'm wondering, what types of marketing do you want to see less of? Like, do you like getting emails? Do you like getting text messages? Is anything kind of overdoing it for you guys?
I was just talking to a friend about this because I feel like everyone bombards Gen Z to the point of annoyance. To your point, Adrian, like the text messages, the emails, the social, like even now the out of home, it just gets so overwhelming. So I think going back to our earlier points of just like really being authentic and resonating is when you'll really win us over instead of just annoying us to the point of like eventually blocking your text messages or unfollowing you on social. Because I personally I know a lot of other people feel very overwhelmed by just being bombarded constantly because we're Gen Z.
Does anyone feel differently or have a different perspective? Everyone is bombarded. Yes, that makes sense. We have another audience question here from Gertrude, and it's about branded advent calendars, which have been a growing trend in recent years. How do you feel about branded advent calendars? Specifically, she calls out the one that Burger King has this year. What do you guys think about advent calendars? Do they fit into the authenticity that you mentioned earlier, or is it too much? Anyone have thoughts?
I think they're honestly a fun move from brands. Like they can get very creative with it, and it's just sort of a good foundation to use to play on. And I feel like for Gen Z, it's always a great type of gift idea if a friend likes a brand and then they release that kind of product and play around with it. it's always exciting. And from a brand perspective, it's great for UGC and, potential TikTok trends, etc. So kind of a win-win, unless it's, just your average type of brand advent calendar that's been done every year. But I feel like there's a lot of space for creativity.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I think if you're really creative about it, it can be a really good move. I think there's also a little bit of gimmick to it, that it feels a little gimmicky for the holidays. I obviously, like, UGC ambassador creators and influencers are unboxing them, but I haven't heard of anyone I know who has actually gone out and bought these advent calendars, just because they do kind of feel sometimes like a ripoff.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been
So
backlash for that.
yeah. So I think but if you're creative with it and you really like put some full size products and some really fun things in there, I think it can be really successful.
We have another question about marketing channels from Penny online. How about catalogs? Does having something physical to flip through remind you, and does that resonate, or does that fall into the kind of a little bit of the bombardment trend? How do you guys feel about catalogs? That's something that we've also seen more marketers getting into, going to print. Alanis?
Yeah, my concentration at school right now is actually graphic design and marketing. So I'm actually taking a publication class right now, and I honestly have formed an obsession for print media. I kind of forgot about it. I used to read like the J14 magazines when I was little, but I feel like I've really reverted back to like that era, and like I have started a magazine collection, and like I honestly will just flip through them like at night as like my nightly reading. And some things I will see and like will catch my eye, and I'll actually like research like a brand that I've never heard before, like a product and a pictorial that I feel like I really want. And also it's just like a great way to like hear about music, like Willow Smith's album. I remember over the summer I found it in a magazine, and it's actually like my anthem this year. So yeah, I feel like definitely ad placements and catalogs are a great move, I think, because even actually, I don't know if this is just my algorithm talking to me, but I feel like that notion of like print media coming back, I think that a lot of Gen Z is also like purchasing magazines, and like at least my peers are. So I feel like it's a smart move to like win over a very niche demographic of Gen Z, but it definitely holds a lot of power.
Well, it's interesting that catalogs are seeing a rise in print media, because that kind of ties into a different question that we got from our audience, from Sarah Beth, around sustainability, and the importance of sustainability to Gen Z. So maybe someone might want to talk about catalogs kind of from that sustainability lens. How you guys feel about that? Does anyone? Arafili?
Well, some of the research that we did this year, we saw that 18% of Gen Z shoppers are conscious about contributing to unnecessary clutter through holiday purchases and unnecessary environmental impact. And I think 18% is honestly really low. So it's not great. I don't think we're thinking about it enough in the holiday season. I feel like maybe based on the research that we do, we see that Gen Z ideologically obviously cares to follow sustainable brands, etc. But during the holiday season, it's maybe the one season where they sort of go overboard and set aside most concerns and just go for whoever's having the best holiday sales, etc. So I think that's definitely something to think about. And there's always a big dichotomy between Gen Z's ideological stance and their practical stance in action, based on everything we see on, research and what's in theory and what's done in practice. So that's definitely hard for brands to balance, and something to keep in mind.
And then we have another question from Benam on LinkedIn. What innovative strategies can marketers employ to build genuine long-term connections with Gen Z, given their skepticism toward traditional advertising and their preference for brands that align with their personal values and social causes?
I'd love to jump in here. As a community manager, I am in the DMs, I'm in our comments, and I think that's one of the ways you can really kind of build those long-term connections is let people know that you're seeing them and they're not just kind of screaming into a void or messaging into a void. That like you want to hear their feedback, and Lulu's is such a feedback driven company. I feel like that it's so important to us. So I think really listening to your audience is something that's really underrated.
I think another strategy that brands can employ is definitely talking to Gen Z's vision of their future self. I don't know if I'm wording that correctly, but I feel like a lot of my peers and I are in this kind of transition stage, and everyone's really excited to see who they'll be in like 20 years. And I think that also kind of plays into this shift in a value for longevity and like timeless pieces. But I feel like speaking to, I don't know, our desire to know who we are in 20 years, I think that's could be an innovative way to like target us and definitely create like an emotional connection to a brand.
That's super interesting, kind of looking at that aspirational you, the you can be. Alyssa, do you have any thoughts?
No, I was gonna say that longevity, I think, really is the goal here, and I think you do that the best through customer engagement. To the point earlier, hearing them, engaging with them. Again, I keep reiterating this point, but listening is part of social listening as well, right? Like, what is funny right now to your audience? What is emotional right now to your audience? And just really knowing the ins and outs of them, and then also understanding what they care about, communicating properly. So not bombarding them, but, how can we talk to them in a way that, that they'll hear us and not just ignore us. So yeah, just really long-term, I think, is the best way to approach it. Not just during the holidays. Get really loud during the holidays. It's long term. It's a long game.
Well, we just have a few minutes left, but I had one last lightning round question for you all. I'm hoping you can each describe a recent shopping experience that you would label successful, what you bought, and why you bought it. We did hear about the Abercrombie experience already, but if there's another one, who wants to go first? Annika, have you?
I'm like trying to think of the last purchase I made.
That could be telling too. If nothing comes to mind, that's very interesting, especially when deals have started, several weeks now.
I think I don't want to, in case she's watching this, for my really good friend, I got her Christmas gift, and I don't want to spoil it, but and it was a targeted ad. Like, I'll say that I fell for the targeted ads. And I think that's also something that people kind of like, if you can catch someone's attention in an ad that quickly and make it so easy for them to like hit buy. But yeah, I think it was from papier.com. So it was like it's basically just a little journal, but I think it had the ability to customize it so it was special to her. And I think those gifts are also something that's really, and kind of going back to the point of the niche gift guides, is it's just like, we want gifts that are really going to like add value to someone's life or into someone we love. And yeah, I think that was probably the most recent I can think of.
I really love this because I literally got my best friend the exact same gift last year for Christmas, like the exact Papier customizable journal, and she loved it. So I'm like smiling as you say it because I think they do a great job of providing like customization that appeals to Gen Z shoppers, and they have so many great designs, and they collaborate with a lot of independent artists and small artists, and sort of make it feel like you're supporting a small business as well because they do all these great collaborations. So I think that's a great example. And it's funny that it appealed to both of us. So customization, when it's done successfully like that, is always a plus.
Alyssa, have you bought anything recently that you want to mention?
Yeah, my last purchase was actually from Shein, and I'm actually pregnant at the moment, and I was targeted with this really fun like influencer post of this beautiful local influencer. I had no idea who she was, who was wearing maternity sweater dresses, and I popped right on Shein and just bought like pretty much all of them. But I wasn't looking specifically on our website for maternity specific clothes. It was just probably like in my algorithm or whatever. But yes, paid ads, targeted ads, anything that kind of is so just relevant to what you're going through and what you're shopping for. Otherwise, it'll.
Looks like we might have lost Alyssa, or is it froze? Alanis, do you want to jump in with your last thought?
Honestly, just the Abercrombie purchase from last night. Like, that was honestly my most recent purchase. It was super convenient to shop on there, see that they were having an early deal, see that they were offering gift guides for men. Because honestly, I just never know what to buy for my boyfriend. He just has no idea. So yeah, I just got him a cute little graphic tee and kept it moving.
All right, let's hope he's not watching. We don't want to give it away.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you all so much for joining us. And also thank you to our Ad Age team, Anna Sakula, Lauren Chiardio, Elizabeth Moore, India Walton, and Anicia Juarez. A reminder that Ad Age will be hosting a conference dedicated to Gen Z consumers and direct-to-consumer retail trends in early March. So mark your calendars and register early at adage.com/nextgen2025. Thanks for watching.